Okay, so in this session, we will discuss some of the practice questions from cash flow statements, right? The theory part already has been discussed with you by Gayan sir. So you know the basics there in cash flow statements, right? Just to refresh your memory on that. So what is the standard that talks about cash flow statements? Cash flow statement ka kata karana standard එක මොකක්ද? It's LKS 7, right? So LKS 7 gives us the guidelines and other necessary requirements in terms of preparing cash flow statements, right? So what else? What are the other things you know in terms of cash flow statements? Anit මොන දේවල්ද දන්නේ? Right? So we can prepare cash flow statements basically under two methods. What are those? Direct method and indirect method, right? Whatever the method we are using, we have to identify cash flows generated from three activities. Sorry, generated from three activities, right? Cash flows generated from operating activities. What else? Operating activities will generate when a cash flows unknown. I investing activities will generate when a cash flows unknown. I financing activities will generate when a cash flows unknown. Right? Whatever the method we are using, whether it is direct or whether it is indirect, we need to identify cash flows, right, from those three main activities, right? And finance, the cash flows generated from financing activities and investing activities, that does not change, right? The structure and the way we present that is not being changed based on the method we are using. අපි direct පාවිච්චි කරත් indirect method එක පාවිච්චි කරලා cash flow statement එක හැදුවත් investing activities වල cash flow එක පෙන්වන විදිහයි financing activities වලින් generate වන cash flow පෙන්වන විදිහයි cash flow statement එකේ වෙනස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. එකම තැන මොකද්ද? Right? The cash flows generated from operating activities. Right? If we are using indirect method, we usually starts with what? Profit before tax. Then for that, we need to do certain adjustment, right? Non-cash incomes and non-cash expenses, we need to adjust. Then we need to adjust for changes in working capital, right? So then we will have cash flows generated from operating activities. From that, we need to deduct the interest and the tax amount we have paid in cash. So then it will provide us the net, right? Net operating cash flow, right? So by looking at the operating activities, cash flows generated from operating activities, we can comment whether we have prepared our cash flow statement using direct method or indirect method. So those things you already know, right? So I wanted you to just recap on that area, right? So we will move to 2018 one. 2018 question number 5, part A, right? Question number 5, part A. So they have given us the balance sheets of 2 consecutive years, 2017 and 2018, and the income statement for the year, and some additional informations. And we have asked to prepare the cash flow statement of this particular company using the indirect method, right? For 10 marks. For 10 marks means usually within how many minutes, right? Maximum like 15 to 18, right? Within 15 minutes, you need to prepare this cash flow statement based on this information, right? Okay, so here we know when presenting cash flow statements, we need to identify cash flows generated from 3 particular activities. cash flow generated from operating activities. Cash flow generated from operating activities. So we need to prepare this cash flow statement using indirect method. Indirect method. වක්‍ර ක්‍රමයටයි හදන්න කියන්නේ. එහෙනම් අපි පටන් ගන්නෙ මොකෙන්ද? We need to have the profit before tax figure. Profit before tax amount. Then we need to do certain adjustments, right? If we have non-cash incomes, right, we need to deduct those. If we have non-cash expenses, we need to add back those because we are preparing this on cash basis. Okay, so we need to do adjustments, and then, right, we need to adjust for the changes in working capital, right? Working capital කියලා කියනකොට මොනවද අහුවෙන්නේ නැතන්ට? Current assets and current liabilities. ඒ වගේ changes අපි adjust කරන්න ඕන, right? Then, right, so then the figure we will get here is what we mean by cash flow from operating activities. From that, we need to deduct the interest amount which we have paid in cash and the tax amount which we have paid in cash. After deducting those two, we will have, right, net cash flow from operating activities. Right? Net cash flow from operating activities. What මේ තමයි cash flow generated from operating activities, right? Indirect method එක නිසා මෙන්න මේ විදිහට තමයි අපිට ගන්න වෙන්නේ. And then the second, right, category, cash flow generated from which activities? Investing activities. Cash flows generated from investing activities. And the other one is cash flow generated from financing activities. This is what we need to prepare. Right? Then we will have net changes in cash flows during the year. Activities තුලින් generate වෙච්ච cash flows වල එකතු තමයි අපි කියන්නේ net changes in cash flows during the year. අවුරුද්ද ඇතුළත cash flows කොච්චර ගානකින් වෙනස් වෙලාද, right? So we will add that amount to the beginning cash and cash equivalent balance. අවුරුද්ද මුල තිබ්බ ශේෂයට ඔය වෙනස් වීම එකතු වුණාට පස්සේ we will have the closing balance, right? Closing cash and cash equivalent balance. So this is what we need to fill up with. Right. So now we'll move to this one. How to approach this sum. So given below is the statement of financial position of SKD Limited as at 31st March 2017 and 31st March 2018. Right? These informations have been given, and they have given us the income statement as well. Income statement එක දීලා තියෙනවා. දීලා තිබ්බොතින් we will start with this income statement. Right. We are preparing this using indirect method. Therefore, we need to know the profit before tax figure here. Badu pera labha, profit before tax. What is the amount? Right. So it is directly here, profit before taxation, right? Before deducting this tax expense, the amount is what? 28,500. Profit before tax, right? සාමාන්‍ය මෙන්න මෙතනට එන්නේ මොනවද? මේ ගාන දිහා බලන්න නැතුව සාමාන්‍ය in general what comes under these adjustments? All non-cash incomes and non-cash expenses, right? අපිට cash වලින් නැතුව income එකක් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා නම් ලැබිය යුතු ආදායම් හර කරලා P&L එක බැර කරන්නේ. අපිට cash වලින් ලැබිලා නැහැ. හැබැයි ලැබෙන්න ඕන එකක්. එතකොට ඒක cash වලින් ලැබුණ නැහැ. එහෙනම් non cash income. ඒ වගේ income තියෙනවා නම් we need to, right, remove that. What else? තව මොනවද? මොන වගේ දේවල්ද උතන්ට එන්නේ adjustments වලට? මොනවද non cash income, non cash expenses දේවල්? What is the most popular one? Depreciation, right? Depreciation is an expense, but it is not an, right? It is not an expense that we bear in cash. අපි cash වලින් දරන වියදමක් නෙවෙයි. It is a non-cash expense. එතකොට ඒ වගේ ඒවල් තියෙනවා නම් අපි ඒක ඒව මෙතනදී adjust කරන්න ඕන. Right? Okay, so what are those figures here? By looking at this income statement, you can see, right? Directly by looking at these figures, we don't know whether it is in cash or credit basis, right? Cash basis නම් එහෙම ගන්න පුළුවන්, credit නම් ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට cash වලින් මේ amount එක ලැබිලා නැහැ. එහෙනම් අපි adjust කරන්න ඕන. But in this case, we cannot say anything, even cost of sales, right? See here, investment, another income source for us. Investment 5,300, right? So what can you say about this investment amount? Investment income amount 5,300. ඔය කියන 5,300, does it include in here? මෙන්න මෙයා ඇතුලේ තියෙනවද? Yes, right? So when calculating this 28,500, we have add this 5,300 as well. It means it is inside this. But the issue is with this. It is an investment income, right? That is an income we have generated from investing activities, right? Not from operating activities. එහෙනම් මෙයා operating activities වල cash flow cal කරද්දි, right, මෙයා මේක ඇතුළේ ඉන්න බෑ. Therefore we need to adjust that investment income. අපිට additional information වල මුකුත් කියන්නේ නැහැ. මේක cash වලින් ලැබුණද නැත්නම් අපිට ලැබෙන්න තියෙන එකක්ද කියලා කියන්නේ නැහැ. But by looking at the balance sheet, we can predict, right? Under current assets, right, we do not have a receivable investment income or something like that. Right? So we assume that this has been received by cash. Make අපිට cash වලින් ලැබිච්ච investment ආදායම. But so in here, in this place, we are calculating the cash flows generated from operating activities. Therefore, this 5,300 should be not included in this, right? එහෙනම් එයා මෙතන ඉන්න ඕන නැත්නම් එයා යන්න ඕන කොතනටද? That is a cash flow which we have generated from investing activities, right? Investment income, right? Cash inflow එකක් එහෙනම් අපි එකතු කරනවා 5,300. මෙතනදී මොකද්ද කරන්නේ? Are we supposed to add these 5,300 or deduct 5,300? 5,300 එකතු කරනවද 5,300 අඩු කරනවද? What? මෙයාට මොකක්ද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? මෙයා 28500ට එකතු වෙලා තමයි ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. එහෙනම් අපි ඒව අයින් කරන්න ඕන. අයින් කරන්න නම් මොකද කරන්න ඕන? එකතු වෙච්ච එක අයින් කරන්න නම් we need to deduct 5300, right? Investment income. So that should not come under operating activities. That should come under investing activities. That adjustment we have done. Clear? Right. Then the next one, administration, right? Distribution. Those, right? Depreciation may be included in these figures, but for the moment we don't know the exact figure, so we left it behind, right? This one, finance. So we call this interest expense, right? Finance cost 4200, right? This one also we need to adjust, right? We will say interest expense. We have 4200 interest expense. එයාව මෙතනින් අයින් කරන්න ඕන. මේ 28500 කැල් කරද්දී ඔය කියන 4200 අඩු වෙලා ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. එහෙනම් එයාව right reverse කරන්න නම් what we need to do? We need to add back that 4200 interest expense. Balance sheet එකේ බලන්න whether we have a payable interest amount. නෑ the creditors තියෙනවා, accrued expenses තියෙනවා, provision for tax තියෙනවා. There's nothing called, right, payable interest, right? So it means what? This total amount we have paid in cash. මේ amount එකම අපි cash වලින් ගෙවලා තියෙන්නේ. Therefore interest amount that we have paid in cash is 4200, a cash outflow, right? Operating activities වල cash flow කැල් කරද්දී අපි interest, finance cost over consider කරන්නේ නැහැ, right? Operating activities වල cash flow එක net cash flow එක කරද්දී තමයි we are deducting the interest and the tax amount which we are paying in cash. Okay, so we have adjusted for the finance cost. Then what? Right? Loss from motor vehicle 800. Loss from motor vehicle 800. And we have given the additional information with regards to this transaction, right? A motor vehicle cost 12,000 was sold in this year. Accumulated depreciation of this vehicle is 6,000. On ඔතනින් generate වෙච්ච loss එක තමයි මේ 800 කියන්නේ. Right? So this is a non-cash expense. So we need to adjust, right? Loss from disposal of motor vehicle 800. When calculating this 28,500, that 800 is already deducted. So we need to reverse it back. Therefore, we need to add, right? Loss from disposal. Here, right? So what is the missing figure here? We have disposed a motor vehicle. The cost is 12,000. The accumulated depreciation 6,000. And we have generated a loss from that disposal worth of 800. What is the missing figure? මොකද මෙතන මිස් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? අපි මේ motor vehicle එක dispose කරද්දී නැත්නම් විකුණද්දී අපිට කීයක් ලැබුණද? In cash, what is the amount we have received, or the sales proceed? That one we can work through the disposal account. Disposal account. Disposal account එක අපි මොකද්ද කරන්නේ? cost එක transfer කරනවා, accumulated depreciation එක transfer කරනවා, sales proceed එක transfer කරනවා, නැත්නම් record කරනවා. From that, right, we can calculate whether we have a gain or a loss, right? The cost we need to transfer. එතකොට motor vehicle asset account කරලා disposal account එක තමයි debit වෙන්න ඕන. The cost amount. So what is the cost amount here? The cost is 12,000. Right? The cost amount is 12,000. And what is the accumulated depreciation amount? Accumulated depreciation amount is 6,000. We have transferred the cost, we have transferred the accumulated depreciation, and by now we know the loss amount. We have a loss of 800. මේ මොකක්ද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? P&L එක loss එකක් නිසා මොකක් වෙලාද? P&L එක මොකක් වෙලාද? P&L loss එකක් නම් P&L debit, right? Where to credit? Disposal account credit. Right? P&L we have charged 800. So now we can find what is the amount we have received in cash for this particular transaction. Here 12,000, here 12,000. In cash we have received how much? 12,000 wali me denna inwata passe, right? 5,200. Cash inflow ekak. We have received cash worth of 5,200. May I unknown mona activity activity right? Whether this 5,200 we have generated from operating activities or from investing activities or from financing activities. Got them, right? This is involved with non-current assets, the cash flow which we have generated by disposing the non-current assets. Therefore, this is an investing activity, right? Sales proceeds or cash received from disposal. We have received inflow of 5,200, right? From the inflow. Right? Hope you know how to map the cash flow statement and the balance sheet, right? The link between the balance sheet and the cash flow. Hope you know that. That no need, right? Non-current assets nang eka link when investing activities එක. Right? Current assets, current liabilities link when operating activities එක. Equity and non-current liabilities link when financing activities එක. Right? Hope you know. Right? So we have adjusted on that. Motor vehicle disposal. The loss is a non-cash expense, so we need to adjust that here under operating activities. And we have received this much of amount in cash that should come under investing activities. Right. Then what else? Loss from motor vehicle, we were here. Profit before tax is the amount that we have considered at the top. And the tax amount is given 7,690, right? This is the tax expense for the year. But here, see, we have provision for tax. Right? It means the same amount we may not have paid in cash. Make a varshe viyadama, have I make api cash වලින් ගෙවලා නොවෙන් ගෙවලා නැතුව ඇති. ඒක තමයි මේ current liability එක අපිට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. Right? Provision for tax කියලා. Right. So we need to calculate the cash amount we have paid in cash. We have paid, right, for tax. Right? බදු විදියට අපි cash වලින් ගෙවපු amount එක අපි calculate කරලා ගන්න ඕන. So how can we do that? See here, we need to know the tax amount we have paid. Right? Tax payable. What are the figures here? Provision for tax in 2017, 970, 2018, 1,020. Liability account, therefore, brought forward balance 970, this one, and in 2018, right, the brought forward balance is 1020. Carry it down 1020. And what else we know? අවුරුද්ද ආරම්භක ශේෂ්‍ය දන්නවා. අවසානයේ අපි ඉදිරියට ගෙන යන ශේෂ්‍ය දන්නවා. What else we know here? We know the tax expense for the period 7,690. Right? We have charged to PNL amount worth of this much 7,690. What is the remaining amount? Right? So what is this amount then? This is what we have calculated. This is the amount we have paid in cash. Api tax බදු විදියට cash වලින් ගෙවපු amount එක 7,640. Right here, tax paid amount, an outflow of cash. So minus 7,640. Right? $7,640. Okay. ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා නම් ඔය chat box එකේ දාන්න. Right. Then, so we have gone through all the items, all the captions under income statement. Income statement එකේ අපි හැම caption එකකටම ගියා. Now we have treated for that. Right? So we have come across with this additional information. We have treated for this as well. Now we can move to balance sheet. See? So we have non-current assets which are depreciable, right? We have depreciable assets. It means what? In these two figures, we may have included the depreciation amount as well. May figures actually depreciation amount එකක් තියෙනවා. ඇයි? අපි ගාව depreciable assets තියෙන නිසා අපි හැම අවුරුද්දෙම depreciate කරනවා ඇති. Therefore, especially we need to deduct what? The depreciation amounts. Right? Depreciation means a non-cash expense. So those things we need to adjust. Making a dual liability, right? We need to add back. So how can we calculate it, the depreciation amount? Make actually the depreciation amounts අපි calculate කරගන්නේ කොහොමද? Right? How can we calculate those figures? So what are the assets we are having? We are having motor vehicle. We are having office equipments. And we have furniture. Those are the three asset categories we are having. Right? 2018 and 2017. By looking at these figures, right? By looking at these figures, tell me which gives an idea about the depreciation. Cost එකේ වෙනස් වීමද අපිට depreciation එක ගැන idea එකක් දෙන්නේ නැත්නම් මේ සමුච්චිත ෂය වෙනස් වීමද? What? The change in, right? The change in accumulated depreciation. Right? So we will consider the accumulated depreciation figures here. If we take motor vehicle in 2018, the accumulated depreciation amount is 21,000. 2017 වල තිබ්බේ 18000යි 18,000. එතකොට අවුරුද්ද ඇතුළත 3000කින් වැඩි වෙලා. Right? The change is 3,000. ඒ කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? අර disposal කතන්දරේ තිබ්බේ නැත්තම්, right? මෙතන disposal ගැන අපිට විස්තරයක් කියනවනේ. We have disposed a motor vehicle. If that particular information was not there, right? If we have not disposed any motor vehicle, the depreciation charge for the year is this amount. ඒ කියන්නේ අර සමුච්චිත ෂය වැඩි වෙලා තියෙන්නේ කීයකින්ද? ඒ තමයි අපිට වර්ෂයට අදාළ ෂය වෙන්නේ. right? හැබැයි ඩිස්පෝසල් එකක් තියෙද්දි ඔක වෙනස් වෙනවා. ඇයි? ඩිස්පෝස් කරද්දී අපි ඒ ඩිස්පෝස් කරන ඇසෙට් එකට අදාළ සමුච්චිත ෂය මොකකට මාරු කරනවද? ඩිස්පෝසල් account එකකට මාරු කරනවා. right? එතකොට අපිට හරිම depreciation amount එක reflect වෙන්නේ නැහැ. right? So we need to keep that in mind. Okay, office equipment. In 2018, we have 7,200 accumulated depreciation amount. In 2017, we have 4,100. Right? Furniture, 2,500 and 2,500 and 1,200. Right? So these are the changes. අපිට මෙතන ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ motor vehicle විතරයි. ඇයි? office equipment, furniture කියන assets අපි dispose කරලා නැහැ. එහෙනම් office equipment වලට අදාළ depreciation amount එක තමයි මේ වර්ෂයට අදාළ amount එක. Furniture, right? The depreciation amount relevant for the year, relevant for the period is this 1,300. Why? Because there are no any disposals in terms of these two asset categories. But when it comes to motor vehicle, we cannot consider this 3,000 as the depreciation for the period. Why? We have disposed a motor vehicle during the current period. Right? So here, what is the total? Right? 7,400. So this 7,400 we cannot directly take it to here. Disposal එකක් තියෙන නිසා මේ 7,400 අපිට කෙලින්ම මෙතනට ගන්න බෑ. Right? Why? This is not the actual depreciation amount for the period. Right? Now actual amount එක කල් කරන්නේ කොහොමද? Right? We need to consider the accumulated depreciation of the disposed motor vehicle. How much? 6,000. මේ තියෙන disposal account එකට මාරු කර 6,000. Right? That amount we need to take into account. Therefore, the depreciation charge for the period should be depreciation charge for the period should be 13,400. Right? 13,400. So that one, so that this depreciation amount is a non-cash expense. It means this has been already deducted when calculating this figure. So we need to add back 13,400. Right? 13,400. Okay. Right. So those are the adjustments we need to make, right, in terms of this sum. So we have that investment income, which should comes under investing activities, that when we adjusted, an interest expense, right, we need to add back because we need to separately deduct it from the cash flows from operating activities, right? Loss from disposal, or if there is a gain as well, we need to adjust, and the depreciation amount. Now we need to focus on this changes in working capital, right? Changes in working capital. Working capital කියද්දි what we consider? කලිනුත් කිව්වා මොනවද? What? Current assets and current liabilities. අපි net working capital කියන එක formula එකකට දැම්මොත් කොහොමද? Net working capital equals current assets minus current liabilities, right? If it is working capital, it means current assets and current liabilities. Now we need to consider the changes in those. So our full focus will be on this current assets and current liabilities, right? See, inventory, what has happened compared to 2017? What has happened? The inventory amount has increased velada me decreased velada, right? There is an increase in inventory, right? Increase in inventory here. 2700. Right? 2700කින් 2018 වැඩි වෙලා. Right. So what we need to do? මේ 2700 මම එකතු කරන්නද ඕන අඩු කරන්නද? Right? The inventory has been increased by 2700. I'm here 2700. Right? මෙන්න මෙච්චර ගානකින් inventory එක වැඩි වෙලා. So what I need to do here? Should I add this 2700 here or do I need to deduct this 2700? තමයි 2700 cash inflow එකක් විදිහට මම consider කරන්න ඕන නැත්නම් cash outflow එකක් විදිහටද? What?
Cash outflow එකක් විදිහට.
Yes, right? So this one we need to consider as a cash outflow. It means we need to deduct, right? Deduct 2700. Right? Increase in inventory. ඇයි inventory වැඩි වෙන්නේ? Inventory වැඩි වෙන්නේ ඇයි? අපි inventory purchase කරාම. Purchase කරද්දි මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ? අපෙන් cash එළියට යනවා. It is a cash outflow, right? So we need to deduct 2700 here. Okay, අනිත් පැත්ත උනොත් decrease in inventory. Inventory එක අඩු උනොත් what we need to do? Right? Inventory එක අඩු වෙන්නේ ඇයි? Inventory එක වැඩි වෙන හේතුව කියන්නේ lazy. Right? Inventory වැඩි වෙන්නේ ඇයි? අපි inventory purchase කරනවා. Purchase කරද්දි cash එළියට යනවා. එතකොට right cash outflow එකක් නිසා inventory එක increase වෙනවා. Right? ඒ කියන්නේ inventory එක වැඩි වෙනවා කියලා කියන්නේ cash අඩු වෙනවා. Right? Inverse relationship. Okay, අනිත් පැත්ත decrease in inventory. What? එතකොට මොකද්ද? Right? We need to add back. Right. Then the other current asset, receivable, what has happened? Receivable also has increased, right? Increase in receivables. Increase in receivables. Right? 67,570 minus 44,570. Receivables වැඩි වෙලා 23000කින්. Receivables has been increased by 23,000. How this is possible? කොහොමද receivable වැඩි වෙන්නේ? මේ අමාරු වගේ receivable අඩු වෙන්නේ කොහොමද? How receivables decreases? ණය ගැතියෝ 10000ක් හිටියා අවුරුද්දක වෙද්දි 5000යි. ණය ගැතියෝ අඩු වෙලා. ඇයි අඩු වෙන්නේ? ණය ගැතියෝ අපිට සල්ලි ගෙව්වා. right? එතකොට ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට සල්ලි එද්දි ණය ගැතියන්ගෙන් cash inflow එකක් තියෙද්දි සල්ලි වැඩි වෙද්දි ණය ගැති ශේෂය එතන receivable ශේෂය අඩු වෙනවා. Inverse relationship. එතකොට මෙතන right? Increase in receivables. Receivables වැඩි වෙලා. ඇයි වැඩි වෙන්නේ? ණය ගැතියෝ වැඩි වෙන්නේ ඇයි? අපි මොන sales කරාමද? Credit sales කරාම ණය ගැතියෝ වැඩි වෙනවා. එහෙමනේ. අපි ණයට විකුණනම තමයි ණය ගැතියෝ වැඩි වෙන්නේ. අපි අපිට විකුණනොත් ණය ගැතියෝ වැඩි වෙන්නේ නැහනේ. right? ණයට විකුණන නිසා ණය ගැතියෝ වැඩි වෙලා. The receivables වැඩි වෙලා. right? ණයට විකුණන කියලා කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? ඒ කියන්නේ මෙන්න මේ sales figure එක ඇතුලේ අපිට තියෙන්නේ ඔක්කොම මොනවද? cash වලින් ලැබිච්ච amounts නෙවෙයි. right? අපි කරපු credit sales උත් මේක ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා. credit sales කියලා කියන්නේ එතකොට මොකද්ද? non cash item එක. එතකොට non cash items තියෙන ඒවා අපි මොකක් කරන්න ඕනද? අයින් කරන්න ඕන. right? එහෙනම් 23000කින් receivables වැඩි වෙලා කියලා කියන්නේ right? අපි ණයට විකුණුම් කරලා තියෙන 23000. That is how we need to assume. Right? We have done credit sales worth of 23,000. So that is a non-cash item. So we need to adjust that. Right? එහෙනම් මොකද වෙන්න ඕන? මේක ඇතුලේ මෙන්න මේ 28500 කැල් කරද්දි මේ 2,60,000ම අපි එකතු කරලා තියෙන්නේ. හැබැයි මේක ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා credit sales. එයාව අපි අයින් කරන්න ඕන. එහෙනම් එකතු වෙලා තියෙන එක අපි මොකක් කරන්න ඕනද? We need to deduct 23,000. Right? 23,000 need to be deducted. Right. Here, cash, right? We have figures and short-term investment. This is we can consider as a cash equivalent. We මෙතනදී consider කරන්නේ cash and cash equivalents නේ. Right? Therefore, short-term investment we can consider as a cash equivalent. So we are not going to adjust the changes there. Right? Cash and cash equivalent වල changes අපි මෙතන adjust කරන්නේ නැහැ. Then we can move to current liabilities. Right? Creditors. What has happened to creditors? Right? Creditors, the creditor amount has been decreased. Right? Decrease in creditors. ණය හිමියෝ අඩු වෙලා කීයකින්ද? 21,830 minus 17,560 by 4,270. ණය හිමියෝ 4,270කින් අඩු වෙලා. Right? Why? Why there is a decrease in creditors? How it is possible? ඇයි ණය හිමියෝ අඩු වෙන්නේ? අවුරුද්ද මුල ලක්ෂයක් තිබ්බ එක ඇයි අවුරුද්ද අග වෙද්දි 40,000ක් වෙන්නේ? ඒ විදිහට ණය හිමියෝ අඩු වෙන්න පුළුවන්. How it is possible? How? කොහමද? අපි ණය හිමියොන්ට මොකක් කරද්දිද?
සල්ලි ගෙවනවා.
Yes, right? අපි ණය හිමියොන්ට සල්ලි ගෙවද්දි when we are paying to our creditors, the creditor balance goes down. Right? එතකොට cash එළියටත් යනවා ණය හිමියොත් අඩු වෙනවා. There is a, what kind of a relationship? Right? There is a positive relationship. එක පැත්තට යන්නේ. ණය හිමියෝ අඩු වෙනවා කියලා කියන්නේ අපි යාලට සල්ලි ගෙවනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ cash balance එකත් අඩු වෙනවා. Right? It is mainly due to an outflow. එහෙනම් 4,270 need to be deducted. This is an outflow. Right? There is a decrease in creditors. Why? Because we may have paid them in cash. අපි තිබ්බ ණය සල්ලි වලින් ගෙවලා ඇති. Right? ඕක අනිත් පැත්ත උනොතින් increase in creditors ණය හිමියෝ වැඩි වෙනවා. මේක අනිත් පැත්ත උනොතින් ණය හිමියෝ වැඩි වෙන්නේ ඇයි? අපි credit purchase කරා. Right? Credit purchase කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? මෙතන. Right? මෙතන එතකොට cash වලින් ගියපු cost of sales නෙමෙයි පෙන්නන්නේ මෙතන non cash item උත් පෙන්නනවා. Credit purchase කියලා කියන්නේ non cash item එක. Therefore that one we need to adjust here. Right? Then accrued expenses. Right? Accrued expenses. Accrued expenses. There is also a deduction of 600. Right? Decrease in accrued expenses. Accrued expenses අඩු වෙලා කියලා කියන්නේ අපි ගෙවලා ඇති. It means it is an outflow. We need to deduct 600. Right? Provision for tax. Right? We do not consider it under changes in working capital because we are considering the tax paid amount separately. Right? Even our tax paid amount consider කරන නිසා we are not going to consider this. Right? Provision for tax. The change there. Okay. Right. So here, right, tell me an easy way to decide whether we need to add this change or deduct this change. අපි මෙතන අපි එකින් එක ගිහලා තර්ක කරලානේ ගත්තේ. එහෙම නැතුව ලේසි විදියක් කියන්නේ short method එකක්. What you can observe here, if it is an asset, right? If it is an asset, right? What we do if there is an increase, asset එකක් නම් asset එක වැඩි වෙලා තියෙද්දි අපි මොකද්ද කරේ? එකතු කරාද අඩු කරාද? increase in inventory, increase in receivables. These are assets. And there is an increase. What we have done? We have deducted. Yes, right? And if there is a decrease, what we need to do? If there is a decrease, we need to add back, right? In terms of liabilities, so we can say, right, with regards to assets, there is a negative relationship. An asset එකක් වැඩි වෙනවා නම් අපි අඩු කරන්න ඕන, asset එක අවුරුද්දක වෙද්දී අඩු වෙනවා නම් අපි එකතු කරන්න ඕන. Negative relationship. When it comes to liabilities වැඩි වෙනකොට අපි මොකද්ද කරේ? මෙතන තියෙන අඩු වෙන එකක් නේ. අපි අඩු වෙන එක ගමු. Decrease liabilities, creditors අඩු වෙනවා, accrued expenses අඩු වෙනවා. එතකොට අපි මොකද කරලා තියෙන්නේ? Right? We have deducted. එහෙනම් liabilities වැඩි වෙද්දී අපි මොකද කරන්න වෙත්තේ? We may add. Right? So it means what? There is a positive relationship. Right? So this is how we can decide whether we need to add these figures or deduct these figures quickly. අපිට ඉක්මනට change එක දිහා බලලා මෙයාව එකතු කරනවද අඩු කරනවද කියලා decide කරන්න පුළුවන් based on this. Asset එකක් එක්ක නම් negative relationship එකක්, liabilities එක්ක නම් positive relationship එකක්. ඒ කියන්නේ asset එකක් වැඩි වුණොතින් අඩු කරන්න, asset එකක් අඩු වුණොතින් එකතු කරන්න. Liability එකක් වැඩි වුණොතින් එකතු කරන්න, liability එකක් අඩු වුණොතින් අඩු කරන්න. Right? Okay. Now, right, we can calculate the net cash flows from operating activities, right? So here the total is this much, and these are the changes. Therefore, cash flow from operating activities should be 11,030. Right? Cash flow from operating activities. And we have already calculated the interest and the tax amount we have paid in cash. So the net cash flow from operating activities should be minus 810. Right? Negative cash flow is there in terms of operating activities. We have analyzed in your fourth year, right? Minus 810. Okay, now what we need to do? See here, motor vehicle. What has happened to the cost? In 2017, the cost was 40,000. In 2018, it has been, right, reduced to 28,000. I will put it into a T account. Motor vehicle. Right. Motor vehicle, there is a brought forward balance of 40,000. And there is a carrying down balance of 28,000. And we know what? We have disposed a motor vehicle with a cost of 12,000. Those දහක පිරිවැය වෙච්ච motor රථයක් අපි විකුණලා. එහෙනම් ඒක අපි මොකද කරන්න ඕන? Dispose කරපු motor vehicle එකේ cost එක we need to transfer to the disposal account, right? Then it will be balanced to 40,000. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි අවුරුද්ද ඇතුළත ආය අලුතෙන් motor vehicles අරගෙන නැහැ. Right? Therefore, no any cash inflow or outflow. Right? Basically, an outflow with regards to purchase of motor vehicles. Purchase kala naha, ek outflow ekak naha. Then see office equipment was what has happened. Avurudda mula 9,500යි. At the end of the year, the amount is 10,000. එයි මෙහෙම වෙන්නේ. right? When there is a disposal, we need to be careful. Otherwise, we can directly assume what is the reason. මෙතන ඇයි මේ 9500ක 10000 වෙලා ඇයි අපි 500ක් දීලා මොනව අරගෙන තියෙනවද? office equipments අරගෙන තියෙනවා. Right? Purchase of office equipment. Purchase of office equipment. කීයක office equipment අරගෙන තියෙනවද? 500. Because the change is 500. Then what else? Furniture, what has happened? At the beginning, we had only 4,500 worth of furniture. And at the end, we have furniture worth of 12,000, right? Therefore, it means what? We have purchased furniture. Here. Minus 7,500. Purchase kara kila kyani cash eliyata yana. Therefore, we need to, right, deduct 7,500. Then what else? Right here, investment, right? Investment, we had at the beginning amount worth of 34,000, and at the end the amount is 39,000. Why that? Why that? How that is possible? 37,000 වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. අපි investment purchase කරලා investment purchase කරද්දී අපෙන් cash එළියට යනවා, right? Purchase of investment. Purchase of investment. How much? 5,000, right? Purchase of investment 5,000, right? Then what else? Current assets we have considered, right? Then here under equity and liabilities, what we have? Share capital, right? See what has happened to the share capital amount. See what has happened to the share capital amount. Right? So what has happened to the share capital? Right? Share capital amount has been increased by how much? By 4,500. 4,500කින් share capital එක වැඩි වෙලා. ඇයි share capital එක වැඩි වෙන්නේ? How it is possible? When we issue shares, our share capital goes up. අපි shares issue කරද්දී අපේ share capital එක වැඩි වෙනවා. Shares issue කරද්දී අපිට cash එනවද අපෙන් cash එළියට යනවද? What happened? Is it a cash inflow for us, or whether it is a cash outflow? Yes, right? Shares issue කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ අපිට cash එනවා business එකට. 4,500. ඒක මොන activity එකටද ගන්න අපි? It is, right, a cash flow generated from financing activities. Issue of shares. 4,500. It is an inflow, 4,500. Okay. Then what else? තාමනවත් තියෙන්නේ. මේක map කරන එක මම කිව්ව නේද? Right? Non-current assets ටික මේවගේ වෙනස් වීම අපි consider කරන්නේ investing activities එක්ක. මේක link වෙන්නේ. Current assets, current liabilities link වෙන්නේ operating activities එක්ක. Equity and non-current liabilities link වෙන්නේ financing activities එක්ක. ඒකයි මෙතන change එක අපි ගත්තේ කොතනටද? Financing activities වලට. Right? මේ motor vehicles, office equipment වල change එක අපි ගත්තේ කොහාටද? Investing activities වලට. මේ current assets වල change, receivable change, creditors change අපි ගත්තේ කොහාටද? operating activities world, right? That link you should know, right? In terms of bank loans, right, retained profit, no. In terms of bank loan, what we do, there is a deduction of 700 because of what? අපි ගත්ත loan එක අපි loan එකෙන් 700ක් අපි repayment එකක් කරලා ඇති. ඒක නිසා අවුරුද්දක වෙති loan balance එක 10,000 වෙලා, right? That is because of a repayment. Financing activities, repayment of loan. Repayment of loan 700. It is an outflow. Right? Figure එක දැම්මට මදි අපි හරියටම decide කරන්න ඕන මොකද්ද? මේක inflow එකක්ද outflow එකක්ද කියලා. Right? Otherwise your answer will be wrong. So here right, this is net cash flows from investing activities. Net cash flow from investing activities, the summation of this minus 2,500, right? And from financing activities we have a net cash flow worth of how much? Worth of how much? 3,800, right? Therefore, the net changes in cash flows during the year. අවුරුද්ද ඇතුළත cash flows කීයකින් වෙනස් වෙලා තියෙනවද? Right? It is the summation of the changes in these three activities. 490. Right? So beginning cash and cash equivalent balance. Beginning means, right, the end of 2017. Cash and cash equivalent. Cash amount is 700 and we have short-term investment worth of 385. 700 plus 385, 1085. Therefore, what should be the ending balance? Ending balance should be 1,575, right? 1,575. අනිත් ගණන් වගේ නෙවෙයි මේ ගණන අපිට හරියටම බලන්න පුළුවන් අපි හරි විදියට හදාගෙන ඉවිල්ලා තියෙනවද කියලා. How we can cross check this final answer? I see, right? The closing balance, we have cash worth of 810, short-term investment worth of 6765. 8110 plus 765, 1,575. Right? It means we have done most of the things correctly. එතකොට අපි මෙතන අඩු කරන එකතු කරන ඒවා පටල ගත්තොත් අපිට මේ answer එක එන්නේ නැහැ. Therefore we can cross check our final answer whether we have done the things correctly. Right? So that is 2018 one. Right? Income statement එකක් දුන්නොත් we are starting with that, right? And right, step by step this is how we can, right, do this one. Okay, මේකේ ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවද? Any doubts? Right? නැද්ද? Right. So we'll move to 2017 one. Right? මෙච්චර වෙලා ගන්න 2017 one එක මම ටට්ටක් ගාලා කතා කරන්න. Right? 2017. Read that one first. 2017 fiction number. Yes, fiction number 4, part A. Right? 2017 fiction number 4, part A. Summary of balance sheet and additional information related with Vihatha Limited are given below. They have given us the balance sheet and some additional informations and we need to prepare a cash flow statement for this company for the year ended 31st December 2017 as required under LKS 7 using indirect method. කලින් ගානක් අපිට P&L එක දීලා තිබ්බ මේ ගානේ P&L එක නැහැ. Right, they have given us more additional information. Right, see and understand what we need to do here. Right, 2017 one. Okay, so we have cash. We need to present cash flows generated from operating activities, investing activities, and financing activities separately. Right, and so because we are using indirect method here, we need to start with profit before tax figure. For that, we need to do non-cash, adjust for non-cash incomes and expenses and changes in working capital. Right, then we will have this one. From that, we need to deduct the interest and the tax amount we have paid in cash. Right, profit before tax figure. කීයද? කලින් ගන්න අපිට P&L එක දීලා තිබ්බා. Right, අපිට කෙලින්ම කියන්න පුළුවන්කම තිබ්බා. But here they have not given us the P&L. So how can we find this one? Profit before tax figure. Let's see the additional information they have given. During the year, interest of this much was paid and interest income this much, right? Interest amount, expense එකයි interest income එකයි ගැන කියනවා. Right? Proceeds of the sale of investment and the disposal of a plant, information relating with that they have given. The tax paid amount is given. There was no proposed or paid dividend during the year. Right? Dividends given right. So in additional information also, they have not given us directly the profit before tax figure. So how can we calculate that one? කොහොමද calculate කරන්න පුළුවන්? කොහොමද? Right? Profit before tax one. I will say working number one. Working one. We are going to calculate the profit before tax figure. කොතනින්ද අපිට අල්ල ගන්න පුළුවන්? අපි මොකක්ද දන්නේ? අවුරුද්ද මුලදී retained earnings වලට අවුරුද්දේ profit එක එකතු කරාට පස්සේ එකතු කරලා තව මොනවද? Dividends තියෙනවා නම් ඒව අඩු වෙලා තමයි අවුරුද්දේ අග retained earnings එන්නේ. Right? But here they have specifically given that what? There was no proposed or paid dividend during the year. Dividends නෑ. එහෙනම් මොකද්ද වෙන්න ඕන? Right? මේ දෙකේ වෙනස තමයි අවුරුද්දේ net profit එක වෙන්නේ. Right? Retained earnings as at 31st December 2017 and retained earnings as at 31st December 2016. 2017 අග කීයද? 650 and 500. 650 and 500. Therefore, profit for the year, right? Profit for the year නැත්නම් net profit එක වෙනම කීයද? Difference of this 150. අවුරුද්දේ මෙන්න මෙච්චරක net profit එකක් හොයලා තියෙනවා. නැත්නම් profit after tax figure එක තමයි මේ. But here we need to consider what? Profit before tax. එහෙනම් tax අඩු වෙච්ච figure එක තමයි 150 කියලා කියන්නේ. Right? We need to know what is the tax expense for the period. Right? So here they have given us the tax paid amount 175, and in the balance sheet, right, there is a provision for taxation as well. එතකොට අපිට provision එක අවුරුද්ද මුල කීයද තිබ්බේ අග කීයද තිබ්බේ කියලාත් දන්නවා. අවුරුද්දේ අපි cash වලින් ගෙවපු amount එකක් දන්නවා. එහෙනම් අපිට පුළුවන් මොකක් හොයාගන්නද? අවුරුද්දට අදාළ tax expense එක හොයාගන්න. Right. Tax payable account. Right. Brought forward balance 45. At the end of the year, we are carrying down a balance worth of 60. And we know in the additional information they have given, we have paid tax to the inland revenue during the year 2017 amounted to 175. Right? Cash වලින් ගෙවලා තියෙනවා 175. ඒකට cash account එක credit, මෙයාව debit. This is an important term for us, cash. Right? We are preparing the cash flow statement. Right? Tax paid amount 175. Paid කියලා කියන්නේ outflow එකක්. Therefore we need to deduct. Right? Minus 175. Right? What we need to do, we have to find the tax expense for the period. Tax expense කීයක් වෙන්න ඕනද? What should be the tax expense? P&L එකට කීයක් යනවද? 190. එහෙනම් 190 tax expense එකත් අඩු වුණාට පස්සේ තමයි 150 එන්නේ. එහෙනම් අපිට ඕන profit before tax figure එක ගන්න. ඔය tax 190 අඩු වෙන්න කලින් කීයක් තිබ්බද කියන figure එක. Right? කීයක් තිබිලා තියෙනවද? So we need to add this 190. 340. That is the profit before tax amount. Right? 340. 340. I'm doing this in thousands. 340 is the profit before tax figure. That is right. Then see additional information number 1. During the year, interest of 325 was paid and interest income 250 was received. Interest amount which we have paid is 325. Right? Interest amount we have paid is 325. එකද මේ කියන්නේ? මේකත් එක්කම බලන්න ඕන මොකක්ද? Payable interest එකක් තියෙනවද කියලා. Do we have a payable interest amount? Current liabilities වල? No. Right? It means this should be what? අපි cash වලින් ගෙවලත් තියෙන්නේ 325යි. Payable amount එකක් නැහැ කියලා කියන්නේ අපේ වර්ෂයට අදාළ right? Interest expense එකත් වෙන්නේ කීයද? 325. That is included in this profit before tax විතරයිනේ මෙතන අරන් තියෙන්නේ. ඒකට interest එකත් අඩු වෙලා ආවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. Therefore we need to adjust for the interest expense. That is 325 making අඩු වෙලා ආවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. එහෙනම් අපි එකතු කරන්න 325. Right? Interest expense was paid and interest income of 250 was received. Interest income එකක් ලැබිලා තියෙනවා 250ක. see whether we have a current asset called receivable interest income. Inventory තියෙනවා, trade receivable තියෙනවා, demand deposits තියෙනවා, cash in hand තියෙනවා. There is nothing called receivable interest income, right? It means what? We have received in cash this much of interest income, and that is the exact amount relevant for the period as well. වර්ෂයට අදාළ amount එකත් 250යි. අපිට cash වලින් ලැබිලා තියෙන්නේ 250. Right? What is the issue then? එහෙනම් මොකද්ද එතන තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නේ? Interest income කියලා කියන්නේ, sorry, invest, right? Interest income කියලා කියන්නේ, that is something we have generated from investing activities. මේ අපි invest කරලා තියෙන්නේ, right? Invest කරලා තියෙන එකට ලැබිච්ච ආදායම තමයි මේ, right? එතකොට මේක අපිට operating activities වලට ගන්න බෑ. This one we need to consider under investing activities. Therefore, right, interest income we need to remove from here. එකතු වෙලා තියෙන්නේ, එහෙනම් අපි අයින් කරන්න ඕන 250. So that should comes under investing activities. Interest income we have received in cash 250. So that is with relation to additional information number 1, right? Interest expense and the interest income, right? Then the second point, what it says, the proceeds of the sale of investment were 160. අපේ investment එක අපි විකුණලු. The proceeds of the sale investment were 160. See, අවුරුද්ද මුල 125ක investment තිබ්බා. But we have, right, nothing at the end of the year. අවුරුද්ද අගවිද්ද කීයකවත් balance එකක් නැහැ. It means what? This whole investment we have sold for what amount? 160. මේ 125 investment එක අපි 160කට විකුණලා. Right? So how can we treat for that? The proceeds of the sale investment, no doubt that should come under investing activities, right? Proceeds from sale of investment 160 cash inflow එකක්. Then what is this difference? මේ 125යි 160යි අතර වෙනස අපි මොකක්ද කියලාද consider කරන්න ඕන? Right? This is what? This is the profit from the sale of investment. 125ට ගත් එකක් 160ට විකුණනවා. එහෙනම් 35ක් අපිට මොකක්ද? profit එකක්. ඒ profit එක කොහෙද තියෙන්නේ? ඒ profit එක මෙයා ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා. Right? That is a non-cash item. Therefore, we need to adjust. Profit from sale of investment. 35, it has been already added to this figure. Therefore, in order to remove, we need to deduct 35. Right? Profit from sale of investment. That is point number 2. Then point number 3, plant with an original cost of 450 and a net book value of 250 was sold for 180. Right? The disposal of a plant. We will have the disposal account. Disposal account. Right? Cost we need to transfer to the disposal account. The cost is how much? 450. Right? 450 is the cost. Accumulated depreciation. Accumulated depreciation here. Accumulated depreciation here. What should be the accumulated depreciation value here? Is it 250? 250 කියලා කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? That is the net book value. ධාරණාගය කියලා කියන්නේ cost එකෙන් accumulated depreciation අඩු කරාට පස්සේ value එක තමයි 250. right? This is not the value we need to transfer. We need to transfer the accumulated depreciation amount. So what should be the accumulated depreciation amount? Cost එක 450යි net book value එක 250යි. ඒ කියන්නේ accumulated depreciation එක කීයද? Cost minus accumulated depreciation එක තමයි මේ amount එක. නා 450න් කීයක් අඩු වුණාමද මෙයා එන්නේ? Right? 200. Therefore, accumulated depreciation value should be 200. හරියට ගාන කියවන්න නැතුව නිකන් figure එක දිහා විතරක් බලලා ගත්තොත් ඒක වර්ධිනවා. Right? So this they have given us the net book value. But we need what? Accumulated depreciation. That is 200. And in terms of disposal, what are the other figures we know? Right? Was sold for 180. Right? By selling this plant, we have received in cash 180. 180ක් අපිට cash වලින් ලැබිලා. Right? So this is an important figure for us. We have received in cash 180. Right? This is sale of what? Plant. We have received 180 cash inflow. Therefore, what should be the difference here? Here we have 450, right? 450 minus 200 minus this 180, 70. This should be the amount that we have to charge to P&L. Disposal profit එකක්ද මේ gain එකක්ද? By disposing this plant, whether we have a gain or a loss, right? We are crediting the disposal account, means what? We are debiting the P&L. We debit to P&L means it is a loss for us. There is a disposal loss. Disposal loss of plant. Loss එක මේකෙන් අඩු වෙලා ඇත්තේ. එහෙනම් අපිට යාව reverse කරන්න ඕන. මොකද කරන්න ඕන? We need to add back, right? This 70. Disposal loss of plant. Right? So that is in terms of disposal. Non-cash adjust kara and the amount we have received in cash under investing activities. Okay, point number 4. Tax paid to inland revenue during 2017 amounting to 175. That one we have adjusted, right? Tax paid amount in cash 175, and that particular information we needed for what? In calculating the profit before tax figure here, right? So fifth one also we have considered, right? Dividend. Now we can move to balance sheet, right? So what is the missing one here, right? We have accumulated depreciation, means we have depreciable assets, right? We have depreciable assets. It means we need to adjust for depreciation, right? How can we calculate the depreciation? Depreciation එක calculate කරන්න පුළුවන් කොහොමද? Right? PPE, right? Here accumulated depreciation as at 31st December 2017. Here accumulated depreciation as at December 2017, 1,400. අවුරුද්ද මුල 1,100, right? Accumulated depreciation as at 31st December 2016, 1,200. It means there is a change of 300. But we cannot consider this 300 as the depreciation charge for the year. Why? Because there is a what? There is a disposal, right? There is a asset disposal here. එහෙනම් අපි මොකද කරන්න ඕන? We need to add back the accumulated depreciation of the disposed asset. Here we have disposed a plant. අපි dispose කරපු plant එකේ accumulated depreciation එක කීයද? 200. Right? So we need to add back. It means the depreciation charge for the year should be 100. Right? Non-cash expense එකක් අඩු වෙලා ඇත්තේ නම් අපි reverse කරන්න. We need to add back that 500. Okay. Then changes in working capital. Right? See what has happened to inventory. Now straightforward. There is an increase in inventory. Right? Increase in inventory. මොකද කරන්න ඕන? 80කින් වැඩි වෙලා asset එකක් වැඩි වෙලා නම් අපි දන්නවා asset එක තියෙන inverse relationship එකක් cash flows. එහෙනම් what we need to do? එකතු කරන්නද අඩු කරන්නද? Do we need to add or deduct? Increase in inventory. Asset එක වැඩි වෙලා නම් අඩු කරන්න. 80. Right? Hope you can remember this. Then trade receivables. Again, there is an increase of 60. Increase in trade receivable. Increase by 60. It means we need to deduct 60. Demand deposit is also a cash equivalent and cash. Those figures we are not going to consider here. Then current liabilities. Right? Trade payables. Trade payables has been increased by 70. Increase in trade payables. Increase in trade payables. Trade payable කියලා කියන්නේ liability එකක්. කියන liability එකක් වැඩි වෙද්දී liabilities එකම relationship එකක්ද? Positive relationship. වැඩි වෙද්දී එන cash inflow එකක් එකතු වෙන්න ඕන. 70. Right? Tax, bank OD, right? That those stuff we are not going to consider. Okay. Then cost of PPE. What has happened? අවුරුද්ද මුල at the beginning we have the cost as 2,500 of this PPE, and at the end it has become 3,150. Right? PPE. We have a brought forward balance of 2,500, and at the end we are carrying down a balance of 3,150. Right? 3,150. But here we have disposed asset. Asset එකක් dispose කරද්දී what we do? We need to transfer the cost associated with that asset to a disposal account. එහෙනම් අපි කීයක cost එකක් transfer කරාද? We have transferred the cost worth of 450 for the disposal account. Right? Now see the difference. What is this difference? What should be this 1,100? මේ 1,100 වෙනස එන්නේ මොකක්ද? This is maybe because we have purchased PPE during the year. Right? මෙන්න මෙච්චරක අපි PPE අවුරුද්ද ඇතුළත purchase කරලා ඇති. That is the amount we can find out from that. මේක මොන activity එකක්ද? Non current assets එක relate වෙන්නේ මොනවද? Investing activities. Right? So this is purchase of PPE. Purchase කරද්දී cash එළියට යනවා 1,100. Right? Purchase of PPE 1,100. Investment we have treated, current assets, these two we have considered, right? Then here, under capital and reserves, share capital, what has happened? That has gone up by 35, right? That has gone up by 35 means what? We have issued shares. Issue of shares 35, that is an inflow, right? 35 issue of shares. We have done a mistake. Why? We cannot consider this as the cash amount we have received. Right? We cannot consider this 1100 as it is. මේ 1100 ඒ විදිහටම ගන්න බෑ. ඇයි? See, we have a revaluation reserve. Revaluation associated වෙන්නේ මොනවත් එක්කද? Revalue කරන්නේ මොනවද? Non-current assets. Right? We are revaluing non-current assets. Because of the revaluation, what has happened? During the year, the revaluation reserve has gone up by 50. අවුරුද්ද ඇතුළත revaluation reserve account එක 50කින් වැඩි වෙලා. 50කින් වැඩි වෙලා. ඒ කියන්නේ මොකද? revaluation reserve account එක මොකක් වෙලාද? credit වෙලා. වැඩි වෙනවා කියලා කියන්නේ ඒකනේ. Revaluation reserve has been credited by 50. එහෙනම් මෙයාගේ debit entry කොහෙද ඇත්තේ? කොහාට debit වෙලාද මේ revaluation reserve එකට මේ 50ක් credit වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? credit වෙච්ච නිසානේ මෙයා 150 ඉඳන් 200ට වැඩි උනේ. So where it has been debited? It has been debited to PPE. මෙතෙන්ටයි ඔය 50 debit වෙලා ඇත්තේ. This is the revaluation. That is the revaluation amount. So revaluation amount 50. Right? Now, what is the amount that we have purchased? How much of PPE we have purchased during the year? That should be 150. Right? Or revaluation එක අපි consider කරන්න ඕන. So we have purchased PPE worth of 1050. Right? 1050. Because there is an increase in revaluation. That may be because of increase in the value of the assets. Right? Asset වල value එක වැඩි වෙද්දි තමයි revaluation reserve එක වැඩි වෙන්නේ. Right? Retained earnings, okay. Long-term loan. What has happened? We have nothing at the beginning, but at the end we have amount worth of 450. It means what? We have borrowed loan, right? Amount worth of 450. Borrowing of loan. That is a cash inflow. Loan එකක් ගන්නවා කියලා කියන්නේ සල්ලි එනවා. Cash inflow එකක්. Therefore we need to add. Right? So what else? What else? Right, that's all, no? So now we can finish this one. Here, cash flow from operating activities. We have a positive cash flow of 880. Right? And after deducting the interest and tax amount we have paid, right, we have net cash flow from operating activities worth of 380. Net cash flows from investing activities, we have a negative cash flow worth of 460. Net cash flow from financing activities 485. So there is a net change. The net changes in cash flows during the year should be 405. 405. Beginning cash and cash equivalent balance. See, here also we need to be a bit careful, right? See, in 2016, cash in hand 15, nothing in demand deposits, right? So it is 15, but what else? We have a bank OD as well. That one also we need to consider when calculating the cash and cash equivalent balance, right? Cash and cash equivalent balance එක cash in hand 15 තියෙනවා මෙතන කීයක්ද 200, right? 15 minus 200, that is minus 185. That is the beginning cash and cash equivalent balance. It means at the end what should be the cash and cash equivalent balance? That should be 220, right? Closing cash and cash equivalent balance is 220. So we can check whether this answer is correct or wrong. කොහමද බලන්න මෙතන demand deposits වල 300යි, right? Cash in hand 60යි, and bank OD at the end we have amount worth of 140. So that is 220. Means we have done the things correctly, right? So we can ensure that we have gone through the sum in the correct path. ඒත් අඩු වැඩි කරන ඒවා අපි හරියට කරලා තියෙනවා කියලා අපිට assure කරගන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, so these sort of questions will be there in your exams in terms of cash flow statements, right? ඒ structure එකට තමයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට අහලා තියෙන්නේ. Clear? Cash flows වල ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවද? Right? Are you okay with this? Right, so I will upload this Excel sheet to your Google Classroom, right? So you can refer this. And in terms of accounting standards, for third years, I have done on conceptual framework and on LKS 1 and on LKS 16. Right? ඔයාලගේ standards ටිකක් කව වෙන තියෙනවනේ. මම third years වලට දැන්න කරලා තියෙනවා conceptual framework එකයි LKS 1 standard එකයි LKS 16 standard එකයි, right? එයාලට කරපු ඔයාලටත් relate වෙන ඒවා. So you can refer that, right? And right, these things LKS 2 inventory, right? LKS 2 inventory වල key outtake එක මොකක්ද? ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් එකේ මර කියවන key points ටිකක් තියෙනවනේ. LKS 2 වල කියවන key point එක මොකක්ද? මොකක්ද? Right? When assessing the cost of inventory, we need to consider what? The lower of cost or net realizable value. පිරිවැය හා ශුද්ධ උපලබ්ධිය යන අගයන්ගෙන් වඩාත් මොන අගයද? අඩු අගය තමයි අපි consider කරන්න ඕන inventory එකේ, right? Cost එක assess කරද්දී. So here I have frequently seen these sort of sums in your exams. See, it's very easy. They have given us the cost, they have given us the net realizable value. So you need to consider what? Whichever the lower out of these two. In 120. 120 into this much. Right here, 320. 320 into this much. Right? These are pretty easy. And so I will provide And also LKS 16 I have done, I told you. එකත් කරා LKS 37 තුත් මං එයාලට කරා අපි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට for 30 years, so I will upload that one as well, right? So you can refer those standard from there, right? Okay, right, so shall we wind up?